A friend of mine, there's a rhino that lives in the habitat on your left-hand side. Her name is Aria, and she is a black rhinoceros from Eastern Africa. I had a little bit of a hard time spotting her earlier because she was in a spot that I did not expect. So if you guys could keep your eyes out and help me out. I'm not sure if she's still in the same place that she was earlier, but we'll see. And we'll cruise around to the other side of that exhibit and check her out. Hopefully she's out there. We also have some antelope on your left that are large and brown with black and white on their faces. Those are called roan antelope. There's also some taller gray animals on the left-hand side called greater kudu. Let's not forget though some of the animal friends here on the right-hand side of the trail. I'm going to have you guys keep your eyes out towards the back of the habitat on the right. The animal I want you to try to spot is large and dark red or orange with white stripes. Most of them are hanging out underneath the trees. That makes it a little hard to find, but there's a few out in the sun. They have this dark chestnut red color with white stripes. They are called bongo. And if you're getting to see them at all, which I am seeing them a little bit, you're very lucky because bongo are super duper shy. They live in the forests of Africa, and living in a forest, you're probably kind of used to hiding, huh? Got a lot of trees to hide behind, bushes and such. So to see them out at all is actually pretty special. Earlier when we came by, they were way in the back, we couldn't hardly see them. But one of the reasons I like the bongo so much is we're actually helping these animals in their home country. This is such a cool little fact. The bongo come from a part of Africa called the Congo. So it's easy to remember that we are actually working on breeding them here so that some of them can be sent back to the wild. So we are sending bongo back to the Congo as a part of a way to end extinction for this species. Unfortunately though, one of the biggest problems that bongo are facing in their home country is something called the bushmeat trade. That means people are going out and hunting animals illegally to use their meat for food. Now, I understand that a lot of us eat meat. I get that completely, and it's really important for people to survive. But there are ways to get meat without killing these animals against the law. Unfortunately, though, in a lot of parts of Africa, people will do anything to make a little bit of money, and that includes hurting wild animals when they're not supposed to. But we're thankful that we've set up some great protections for this species so that they can succeed when they go back to their home countries. One of the reasons that the bongo from the Congo are that red color is because they do live in a forest in a very dark green habitat. And that red color actually helps them blend in with their surroundings. There's another example of this here on the left-hand side of the tram. We do see a few of the roan antelope. They're big and brown with black and white on their faces. We see a few taller, thinner gray antelope with really big ears. Those are the greater kudu. But I want you to look for the smaller orange colored antelope. Most of them are laying down in another alert circle formation. Those orange antelope, they're called Uganda kob, and their orange fur, just like the bongo's red fur, helps them hide. Now I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Because red and orange and green, they don't look the same at all, do they? Well, not to us. But here's your challenge. If you've got your camera out, switch it to the black and white mode. Because most animals only see in shades of gray. So it turns out that orange and red tend to look about the same as green in a grayscale world. So they think that they're invisible. Pretty awesome. Turns out that the predators, the lions, and the leopards, and the cheetahs, scientists think they all see in shades of gray as well. Have you guys ever heard the idea that dogs are colorblind, right? Essentially, that's what's going on. Most of these animals see color very differently than we do. Now, earlier, when we came by this habitat, we did finally get our eyes on Aria, the black rhino. She was laying in a corner of the exhibit, kind of just snoozing in the shade. She is not in that same corner that she was in. I'm going to pause here for a moment, though, just in case she's still kind of in the vicinity. Occasionally it's a little hard to spot her because Aria does look a lot like a big old rock with ears, and there's a lot of rocks in this habitat. I am not seeing her this time around, but I do know that our zookeepers, oh, there she is, spotted her, she's on the move. All right, look to the very, very bottom of this hill. Do you see the wall with the fence on top of it? Okay, follow that wall at the bottom of the hill to the right, and you'll see a rhino walking right along the wall, almost where the wall meets another wall, makes a corner. Can you see her? If you can see the rhino I'm talking about, can you point to her and help your neighbor find her? Okay, once again, very, very bottom of this hill, you'll see a wall with a fence on top. And if you follow that wall to the right, you'll see
black rhino á. Nó là
Florida
rhino mà màu
where
đen
two
á.
walls come together. She's big and gray. She's got big old ears. And if you want to find out exactly how big a rhino's ear is, take your two hands and cup them together. It's about that large. Think of your two hands cupped at one ear. They have excellent hearing. They don't have very good eyesight though. Rhinos don't see very well, so they have to make up for it. But they're sense of hearing and their sense of smell. Hi, Aria. She's a sweetheart. One of her favorite foods, I found out recently, green beans. How many of you guys like green beans? Well, then you are going to be good friends with Aria because y'all can share some green beans together. Aria, again, is a black rhinoceros. We saw the white rhinos not too long ago, Victoria and her son Edward. If you're a little bit confused, black versus white rhinos, and you're like, wait, they were all gray, it's true. Their names really have nothing to do with their color. All rhinos are gray. But the black rhinos are critically endangered. We talked about poaching for horns. Unfortunately, people in some cultures think that their horns are medicine, and that's true for black rhino, or that's what people think for black rhinos as well. So we have to raise awareness and make sure that we're helping them breed responsibly here. Aria is somewhat new to the safari park. She arrived here from a zoo in Florida about a year ago, but pretty soon we are hoping that she's going to get a boyfriend out here, and we will have our baby black rhinos starting up again. We've actually had 14 black rhinos born right here at the safari park over the years, so we're looking forward to Aria helping us out in that capacity as well. Keep your eyes out again on the left-hand side, and you will meet some of our springbok. They're the small tan animals with the white bellies and the black racing stripes on their sides. Look very carefully, and you might see a couple of very, very young ones. Do you guys see some baby springbok in the group? They're super tiny. The adult springbok weigh between 40 and 60 pounds, so about the size of a medium-sized dog. The little babies, when they're first born, are about the size of a chihuahua. They are adorable. I will say this, though, springbok are a favorite food.
Nó nhỏ giống như chihuahua
Which
vậy.
is why we appreciate springbok, because if
Lông
you
của
like
nó
cheetahs,
ở
you're going to
giữa
have to
nó có cái
appreciate
lần đen ở giữa.
But here's
Nó
the
khác.
coolest thing. The springbok,
Nó khác
they've
nó
got
khác
some
rồi mấy
surprises
cái
up
loài
their
này
sleeves. Up, they're
thường á.
peeing right now. Sorry, y'all. An animal's got to do what an animal's got to do. But they actually can zigzag across the grass. They can't run quite as fast as the cheetah, but they can maneuver away from that cheetah. Cheetahs are pretty good at running in a straight line. They can't really go back and forth that well, but the springbok can, and that's their secret hidden talent that helps them get away. Speaking of cheetahs though, this afternoon at 3:30 we have an event called the Cheetah Run. That is an opportunity for you to see one of our cheetah ambassadors run about 70 miles an hour down a track in a straight line, as long as the cheetah feels like participating. The zookeeper, the trainer, will ask the cheetah to chase a lure down the track, and the cheetah will say, awesome, I'm going to go chase it because that's what I'm built for. Or the cheetah will say, no thanks, not feeling it today. Usually the cheetah's, you know, participating without any problems, but just check it out, 3:30, it's included with your ticket price. Up on the right side of the tram, look at this, somebody we don't see super often. Keep these guys over here on the right side in mind. We've got some bright white antelope with
Antelope này
brown
mẹ
on their neck.
màu trắng á.
These are called scimitar horned orioles. This is another species, similar to the bongo from the Congo, where we are breeding them here to release back into the wild. And they live, though, instead of a forest, they live in a very, very hot desert. The bright white coats are what help them keep cool. Their white coats help them reflect the heat of the desert sun. Are any of you guys wearing a black t-shirt today? Now, in the sun, it's not that comfortable, is it? That black color absorbs the sun's heat, but the white coats, they act like a mirror and allow that heat to bounce right off. There's also another kind of animal that's really good at staying cool on the right-hand side. Look in the shadow of this big, fluffy tree, and you'll see some huge horns. The cattle under these trees are called Ankole cattle. They're a domesticated species from Africa, meaning they are raised by humans. Instead of being a wild animal, they are kind of animals that live on ranches and farms. But the way that they stay cool is not their color. It's actually their horns. That's the secret. Their horns are not like solid like a rock. If you were to open up one of those horns and look inside, it would have kind of a honeycomb structure. And all of those little holes in the horn allow heat to escape from the animal's body out through their head. Have any of you guys ever heard that on a cold day you lose some of your body heat through your hair? Yeah, you wear a hat to keep yourself warm by keeping the heat in from the top. Well, their horns actually allow that heat to escape, and it helps their body cool off in a very hot place. Pretty awesome. Also, having the honeycomb structure instead of being solid means those horns are not quite as heavy as they look like they'd be. Pretty cool. As I said, the world is full of surprises. We're going to curve back around towards the Rhino Rescue Center again. That's where we saw our little baby rhino Edward snoozing with his mom. We'll see if they're still taking a nap underneath that shade structure. Looks like they are still in that exact same spot, so we'll see them from a little bit above this time around. Now, Edward is a very special little boy. Again, he's only about 2 months old. He was born in July, but what makes him extra special is he was born in a very unique way. Edward was born through what we call assisted reproductive technology. Essentially, Dad donated some of his material, and then that material was implanted into Mom. That's how she got pregnant, and now here's Edward. He was born through artificial insemination, and Edward is the very first southern white rhino born through artificial insemination on our entire continent, in all of North America. We're very excited by this prospect. The reason why this is so important is I mentioned that rhinos are disappearing, right? People are hunting them for their horns. Well, unfortunately, there may come a day when there are not enough rhinos for them to make babies on their own, which means that science is the next best bet. So here at the safari park, we are practicing these technologies to see if we can help Maybe you're not working in a lab helping save animals. Maybe you're not out in Africa helping protect rhinos from poachers, but you can spread the word. You can tell everyone you know that rhino horn is not medicine, or you can use social media to help out. Remember, hashtag save the chubby unicorn. We may get a glimpse of a couple more of our southern white rhinos coming up here on the right-hand side in East Africa. You're definitely going to see some of our great gray and white and yellow birds called the African crowned cranes over here on the right-hand side. They have yellow feathers on their heads because these birds nest on the ground instead of in trees, and there's a lot of tall yellow grass in Africa. So when one of the partners is sitting on the nest and the other partner is out getting lunch for them to bring back to the nest, those yellow feathers stand up just high enough that they can see each other through the tall grass. Got another view of giraffes coming up here on the right-hand side. You'll see them in the distance up towards the top of the hill. There's also a few down among the palm trees in the valley here. Turns out giraffes, unfortunately, are facing extinction just like rhinos. Giraffe populations in Africa have dropped by almost half in just 20 years. Part of it is that bushmeat industry that I told you about earlier, where people are hunting wild animals for their meat. One of the ways, though, that we need to help giraffes is we need to learn more about them. We already know a lot about them in zoos. We don't know very much about giraffes in the wild, so we need your help. We have a website called Wild